This is part 2 of our Dojutsu in-depth series. If you're enjoying this series, like and subscribe for more. The first video went briefly over all things Sharingan, but this one more so focuses specifically on the Mangekyo Sharingan and how each character's Mangekyo Sharingan works and how they unlock them. I will start with a brief breakdown of the Mangekyo Sharingan in general, which you can get in the previous video here. So on a surface level, the Mangekyo Sharingan improves upon the predictive capabilities of the base Sharingan, as well as increasing the power of the natural genjutsu/genjutsu resistance it has. On top of that, each eye gets a unique ability such as Amaterasu. Besides this, every pair of Mangekyo Sharingan unlocks a unique evolving ability called the Susanoo. The Susanoo can only be unlocked when you unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan in both of your eyes, so in cases like Obito and Kakashi's, they don't get a Susanoo. This form of the Sharingan has two further evolutions called the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and the Rinnegan, which will be covered in more detail in another video. The evolution to the Mangekyo Sharingan is caused by intense trauma, most often the death of someone close to the user. This trauma or intense emotions release a special chakra in the brains of an Uchiha, which reacts with their eyes, creating the Sharingan and its evolution of the Mangekyo. The Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan can only be unlocked when implanting the eyes of a close blood relative, such as a brother, into yourself, likely after both unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan. The Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan allows the user to retain their light forever, thus allowing them to keep using their abilities. Today we have another little competition. The same rules apply as before. If you're right with the trivia, comment below. However, if you get the trivia wrong, you absolutely must subscribe to Kontetsu Kages. Are you ready? Okay. What was the color of the popsicle Naruto shared with Iruka in the anime? Was it green, blue, red, or orange? If you said orange, you'd be right. Comment below Orange Gang if you're correct. But if you're wrong, you must press the subscribe button as per our agreement. Now back to the video. We will now be going over individual Sharingans in alphabetical order, starting with Madura Uchiha. This is an anime-only character, and absolutely nothing is introduced about him or his abilities. However, he is shown with a Mangekyo, therefore he would also have a Susanoo, as he does have the Mangekyo Sharingan. Besides this, we don't know anything about Maru's Sharingan. Next up is Fugaku. A large portion of people believe Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan is anime only. If you're one of those people, you'd be 100% right. There is zero canonical content which explicitly shows or states he has one. However, there are some implications, such as his name being Wicked Eye Fugaku, being widely feared during the Third Great Shinobi War, and his vast knowledge of the Mangekyo Sharingan. All in all, it's not canon, however, I will go over what we do know. He awoke the Mangekyo Sharingan in the anime after witnessing the sacrifice of a dear friend during the Third Great Shinobi War. Nothing is known about his Mangekyo Sharingan's abilities. However, it's likely something to do with Amaterasu or Tsukiyomi, as it seems bloodline has something to do with abilities. And nothing is known about his Susanoo either, and it's anime only anyway. Now going on to Hagoromo. He unlocked his initial Sharingan by discovering the dead body of his love interest Naori. This was an anime only scene, and the anime only scene in which he unlocked his Mangekyo is when his brother Hamura is brainwashed and Hagoromo is forced to fatally wound his brother. In the anime, Hagoromo is shown not having the drawbacks of the Mangekyo and obtained the Rinnegan simultaneously. His Rinnegan supposedly allows him to continue to use his Sharingan abilities, unlike most Rinnegan. And he skipped the evolutions of his Susanoo and went straight to the perfect Susanoo in the anime. This is all that is known about Hagoromo's Dojutsu eyes. Next up we have Indra Otsuzuki. We have no canonical reason as to why Indra unlocked his Mangekyo, but in the anime he killed two of his closest followers who were also supposedly his two best friends, allowing him to obtain it. He did canonically obtain it, so like others, Indra has a Susanoo. However, unlike others, Indra was shown with a perfect Susanoo in the anime, without unlocking the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. On top of this, within the anime, Indra is shown using an ability called Hino Kagatsuchi. This ability is essentially Amaterasu, but it's presumed to be much stronger and can be manipulated as if by Kagatsuchi, all in one ability. The design of his Mangekyo Sharingan in the anime was shown as Sasuke's, but in the manga it's a swirl, as you see here. Other than that, we know very little about Indra's Mangekyo abilities. Now for a character we actually know a bit about, Hitachi Uchiha. He unlocked his initial Sharingan at the ripe age of 8, when his teammate Tenma Izumo died in front of him. Then later he obtained the Mangekyo Sharingan from witnessing the death of his best friend Shisui, who we will go over later. Itachi Susanoo is genuinely one of the most powerful we've ever seen, thanks to two unique abilities it has. It has the Yata Mirror, which is a shield wielded by the Susanoo. This shield alters its properties based on what is required to nullify incoming attacks, whether they're spiritual or physical. It's capable of any and all nature transformations, allowing it to negate whatever comes into contact with it. On top of this, the second unique ability is the Totsuka blade. This blade is sheathed in a sake jar. When piercing a foe with this blade, it seals them and traps them into a genjutsu-like drunken world, presumably within the jar. This blade is a spiritual weapon capable of cutting or piercing not only on a physical level, but also the souls of its targets. Furthermore, Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan grants him two unique abilities. In his right eye, he held Amaterasu. Amaterasu is a black flame that burns as hot as the sun and cannot be extinguished by normal means. The flames of Amaterasu are even so powerful they can burn out other flames. Besides this, Itachi also has access to Tsukiyomi. This is one of, if not the most powerful genjutsu in the series. This genjutsu distorts time itself for the target. Inside Tsukiyomi, every 3,000 years that passes is less than a second in the real world. However, we are also shown if you die of old age within the genjutsu, it can kill you, as shown in Itachi Shinden when Itachi uses it during the Uchiha massacre to show his love interest a happy life together, in which she died of old age. Now on to Izuna, one of the first Uchihas to manifest the Mangekyo Sharingan alongside his brother Madara. Izuna was never shown using his Mangekyo in battle or any of his Mangekyo abilities. However, Izuna's Mangekyo abilities allowed him to rise quickly through the ranks into the leadership roles inside his clan along with his brother Madara. Besides this, we once again know little to nothing about his Mangekyo, besides he presumably had a Susanoo. Going into a famed legendary shinobi, let's transition to Madara Uchiha. He, like his brother, was the first Uchiha we know of to unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan. Strangely enough, we still do not know the Sharingan's special abilities. Madara slowly lost vision, as is the nature of the Mangekyo. However, he chose to implant his brother Izuna's eyes into himself to restore his vision. This granted him the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. He then unlocked his perfect Susanoo, which uses multiple swords as well as having multiple Susanoo arms. In a little special bit of lore, Madara's Susanoo was unique as it had additional faces. This is theorized to be because Madara's fear of being stabbed in the back, as he was with Hashirama and Black Zetsu. Naka is another Mangekyo Sharingan user. However, once again, their character is entirely anime only. Very little is known about him and his Sharingan besides the fact he had the Mangekyo, which means he presumably has a Susanoo of some degree. However, nothing is shown anime or not. Now for Naori, she is another anime-only character, which we know very little about besides the fact that she unlocked her Mangekyo Sharingan. We don't know how she did, but it means she presumably has a Susanoo of some level, and has two unique Mangekyo abilities, as all others. But sadly we know nothing of these anime-only characters. Now for another shinobi we actually know something about, Obito Uchiha, and additionally Kakashi Hatake, as he shares Obito's second Sharingan. Obito/Kakashi's Mangekyo was awakened in a very special circumstance. Obito was working with Madara while his team, Rin and Kakashi, thought he was dead. During the Third Great Shinobi War, Rin was captured and forced to become the Three-Tails Jinchuriki, as a trap that would lead Isobu to rampage in Konoha. Because of this, Rin explained to Kakashi what would happen, and that he has to kill her, which he does. As Kakashi does this, Obito is just approaching Eyeshot. Then both Obito and Kakashi's Sharingans become Mangekyo Sharingan, as you see in this amazing panel. Obito never unlocked the Susanoo because he never unlocked 2 Mangekyo Sharingan himself, as one of the Sharingan was in Kakashi instead. However, both eyes still unlocked a special ability known as Kamui. However, each eye uses a slightly different version of Kamui. The right eye in Obito has a Kamui that allows him to do several things. Firstly, it allows Obito to transport himself or other people he is in close contact with into the Kamui dimension. Using this, he can teleport anywhere in the world instantly. As far as we know, this doesn't have any range limits, although we don't have much information on this. If someone is within close range of Obito, he can bring them along while he teleports. In addition to this, Obito can use this in a way that allows him to become essentially intangible. What he really does is precisely teleport specific body parts as he gets hit. However, when he does this, he cannot hit others as it's a passive ability he can have either off or on. Additionally, he cannot use this for more than 5 minutes straight, as shown in the fight Obito had against Konan. Now for the eye Kakashi has. The Kamui Kakashi has works a good bit different, however, we didn't get to see as much due to Kakashi not being an Uchiha, thus making it harder to use. The Kamui Kakashi has can use the Kamui to teleport a section of a target from long range, resulting in taking limbs. Kakashi can also teleport attacks or allies to the other dimension. On top of this, when both eyes are reunited, it allows for rapid, precise, long-distance teleportation instead of requiring physical contact like the other eye's teleportation. When both eyes are paired together, it allows the user to use a Susanoo and apply Kamui to its weapons. We had a special circumstance that allowed Kakashi to have a perfect Susanoo in this case that we see here. Back to someone with little to no information, Rai Uchiha's Mangekyo Sharingan. Rai is an anime-only character who has no reasoning as to why he unlocked his Mangekyo Sharingan, but he still should have a Susanoo and 2 unique abilities, but we know nothing about him. And again, right back to someone we know a lot about, Sasuke Uchiha. He unlocked his Mangekyo after killing his brother Itachi. Sasuke's abilities consisted of Amaterasu, which was covered in the Itachi section, as well as an ability known as Kagetsuchi. This ability allows Sasuke to fully manipulate the flames of Amaterasu, creating something he dubbed Blaze Release, combining his Amaterasu with other techniques in creative and inventive ways, such as coating his Susanoo or combining with Naruto's Rasen Shuriken. On top of this, Sasuke obtained the Susanoo. His uses a special crossbow-like weapon attached to the arm, firing fast, devastating bolts of chakra, rather than using a sword like most other Susanoo. Although he still has access to a sword, as we see. Sasuke was also one of 2 characters to ever unlock the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan after implanting Itachi's eyes into himself, allowing him to evolve his Susanoo into the final stage, known as the Perfect Susanoo, as well as granting him a higher level of mastery over his Mangekyo abilities, as well as increasing the actual power of his Mangekyo abilities, while also decreasing their overall chakra cost. Now for Shin Uchiha. This is the only non-biological Uchiha character since the Otsutsukis to ever unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan. This is due to his specific Kekkei Genkai, which we may go over in a future video, but for now let's get into the abilities of his Mangekyo Sharingan. Shin only awoke the Mangekyo in his right eye, although it appears on all of his eyes, and the ability his Mangekyo got is unnamed. But what it does is allow Shin to mark certain objects and remotely manipulate them as if some form of telekinesis is acting upon them. Shin has been shown capable of using several weapons at once using this ability as well as performing surgery on himself. Besides this, he was also shown making sort of limbs out of scalpels. However, since he only really awoke the Mangekyo Sharingan in one eye, he has no Susanoo. Finally, the fan favorite, Shisui Uchiha. Not many know how he awoke the Mangekyo Sharingan, but I'm here to enlighten you. Shisui and his friend/rival were running from enemy shinobi. Shisui's friend got in a bad situation where he needed Shisui's help. However, Shisui hesitated to help his friend in a moment of jealousy, leading to his friend's death. Shisui then escaped with a newfound power. With this power, Shisui gained the amazing ability known as Kodo Amatsukami. This is a very powerful genjutsu theorized to work differently between the 2 eyes. The right eye allows the user to cast a genjutsu requiring no eye contact. This genjutsu is so subtle no one under its effects could ever notice. However, if they learn they're under this genjutsu from others, it seems to break rather easily. Danzo could cast this a bit more than once per day, although some say this is solely because of the Hashirama cells. It's unknown how often Shisui would have been able to use this eye. The other eye we see Itachi use. From the information we know of the left eye, Itachi tells us this eye has a 10-year cooldown between casts. This time very well could have been some degree shorter for Shisui, but nothing tells us about how Shisui used it. This eye's genjutsu sends one absolute command. This was the same eye Itachi had. He had it inside one of his crows attached to Naruto. It was supposed to command Sasuke to protect Konoha, but instead was cast on Itachi. The genjutsu was powerful enough to overwrite the reanimation jutsu's control over Itachi. Itachi also explains with the usage of Hashirama cells, the 10-year cooldown is different, but we don't know how much, and this could explain why we see Danzo use Koromatsukami much faster with the right eye, despite it working slightly different from the left. After this video, we will be releasing a supplementary video going over every single Mangekyo ability in alphabetical order, then continuing our series Dojutsu in depth with the Rinnegan. It's all things Rinnegan, including the Boruto Rinnegan. Like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment below if you have any feedback or video suggestions.